Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Dyson Dynamics. I am your friend. I am your host. And I am finally, after 5 months, I am your DM again. Joining with me today are my illustrious adventurers Jason, Mark, Marshall,
Hello.
Samuel Lantha.
Hello.
We are playing Rime with a Frostmaiden with a lot of heavy adjustments. We are featuring and finally following characters that were introduced to us roughly a year and 3 months ago, and Legato, Riptide, and Surf. We are going to see where their story picks up. On Kithorn 12th, 1513, the world suffered 10 towns. After 3 years of starving, freezing, prosperous occupations, and Reghetti raids, the Empress of Chult was killed inside of a sandwich shop, the Upper Crust. Heads needed to roll, and the world has decided it'll be yours. For 3 months, you've been held, and every week your trial has been pushed back for a variety of reasons. Be it a lack of legal representation, a lack of evidence, a more demanding trial needs to be held, an investigation launched, an arbiter killed. It's become clear that nobody is coming to rescue you, and instead of the noose, the guillotine, or parole, you might just desiccate and die in Revel's End. Today, on Elayant 15th, 1513, your life begins. We find the 4 of you standing outside of the warden's chambers. Every week, for the past 3 months, the 4 of you have been woken up just before dawn, taken to the showers, permitted a 15-minute warm shower, scrubbed down, your hair washed, combed, dressed, and styled like stuffed gooses, brought before the warden for what has either been several hours of watching other trials held, or 15 minutes where the warden goes, "We're still waiting on lab results. Come back next week." Today, your latest public defender, a kind of nervous-looking human wizard by the name of Archibald, ink staining across his hands. You can see that while the 4 of you are immaculately groomed and well-dressed, he has not had the courtesy or the decency to do that for himself. He just has that kind of ragged look in his eyes. And he's got a briefcase next to his feet, a briefcase on the other side, and then he's got briefcases in both hands. And he says, "Great news. The warden is seeing us today, but as I'm sure you were informed when you were woken up, that your trial has been pushed to tomorrow in light of one of a prisoner getting executed for a lot of things." You see him shuffle, kind of look at the briefcase. But we do have pressing cases to handle before final day festivities. So there's that, at least. You know, there is movement happening in this case, and I swear, Harper's honor, I will make sure that something happens.
Harper's honor.
So I do have a question. Prisoner, let's see, which one are you? He points at Legato. Prisoner.
305.
Let's 305. Thank you. You guys have gone through this before. When you walk in, you'll be given your names back. I'm worried that if I ask you, so I don't have your last name on file. So keep that in your head, in the back of your head. Before we go in, I'm worried that if I make you give me your last name right now, that they're just going to shock you again. And I really don't want a medical incident to happen like it did last time with your public defender. I didn't know you could do that to another person.
Well, he was kind of being real grumpy and insistent, and I told him to back off and he didn't listen. So, after a certain point, it just gets to like But you've been great, Archie.
Thank you. Yeah, it's Archie. Not yeah. Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Just a heads up before we go into the room, you guys are going to find some of the people who are pressing charges against you are there. So please be on your best behavior and don't make menacing looks. Appearances are everything. All right. Forgetting anything. Any questions
and that
before we
means you-
go in?
All right, and that means you got to try not to squint as much.
I can't see.
I know, but they don't know that. They think that since you have glasses, you probably can see stuff. You got to try not to squint as much.
Oh my god.
Okay. Cole, clasp his hands, then unclasp, wipe them down the front of his frock. And after a few minutes, he'll open the door and usher you inside. The warden's room is probably one of the larger, like, personal rooms that you've been in inside of the prison. A lot of the space is kept compact and tight to preserve as much heat. And there's a lot to this room that isn't about conserving heat. It's kind of a typical judge setup. You've got a desk at the way front where the warden is sitting, and then you have pews behind a very shallow, heavy wooden like barrister. There's a few guards stationed around. You recognize the steel blue frock of a few arbiters, kind of milling about, making small talk. Seated in the room, several figures that the four of you would immediately recognize. Serpent Riptide, you recognize sitting in the furthest pew from where the four of you will be seated is Herman Locke, who is probably one of the few figures in the room who isn't looking at the door. You see, not known to you, seated also near him with a briefcase of her own is another arbiter, clearly in a nicer steel blue frock coat than you've seen, milling about, kind of a coiffed hair. And the four of you are ushered in. You're brought to your seats. And the people milling about the room are brought down to their seats. People kind of fill in around you. You can see people with badges on representing, identifying themselves as people from around 10 towns. People wearing the Waterdeep flag. This is a quickly bustling and populous room. There are a lot of people here waiting to see The warden is a shorter human woman with a very weathered face and a kind of gruesome scar across one of her eyes. You can see where like the eye is like mutilated over. She isn't like blind from it. There's chunks of her eye gone, and it doesn't seem to bother her. You've definitely seen her take pleasure in how upsetting she is. She's in very elegant, very nice red robes with gold embroidery and decorations, and she's got kind of tan, kind of olive skin. Her hair is that overly fluffed, overly dyed way that like middle-aged women who get their hair done way too much have. It just has this like floaty, unhealthy cloud texture. And she takes a big ring that she has on her finger and she taps it against the desk, and it chants out this like metallic, obviously magically enhanced sound. A hush falls over the court. She shuffles around and she says, "Hey, all figures in this room. Your identities have been returned to you. You will no longer be identified by your numbers as long as you are in this room representing yourself in an international legal court of law. Present here is the Same Skies representative, the Same Skies legal representative, Herman. We have a few arbiters here representing Neverwinter interests. And I understand we have some figures from a Waterdeep newspaper. First on the docket, Sir Fandelkus Landier. Can you please stand up?"
Surf will rise to her feet with perfect posture and poise.
Someone in the pews begins to sketch you. What does she sketch?
Oh, that's fucking great. What she sketches is a short blue genasi woman with strikingly golden eyes and long, thick, deep blue hair that is all dense curls, but is currently back into Dutch braids just to keep it out of the way. And she has a stoic, well-practiced, kind but curious face expression on. She looks ready to listen, and depending on how good of a sketch artist this person is, they can see the way her eyebrows have a knit of impatience to them.
Sir Fandelkus Landier on Kithorn 11th or the 12th. A voice. Archibald speaks up. The 12th, Your Honor. Okay, Archie, I didn't fucking ask for an interruption. Charges on your behalf were filed against prisoner 304, Yopal Taleri, for, assault, weapon, business. Before the defendant makes his plea, Do you uphold these charges that were made in your honor? You see Archibald sitting next to you suddenly stand up, then sit down and start opening his briefcase, and he gives you a very panicked expression.
Yopal's not in the room.
No.
Surf nods along with the charges against Yopal and will say, actually before that, clarifying question. You said in the coming in the intro, it's been 3 years or 3 months?
Months. The
Month. Okay.
Rime curse has been going on for 3 years.
Okay. Cool.
Good clarifying question.
That is very important for my answer. But Surf will nod along with what's being said and say, yes, I do.
Okay. Very well. See to it, pass it on. All right. For the charges laid against you for other unrelated related events on Kithorn 12, 15, 13. Regicide, conspiracy to commit regicide, conspiracy to commit treason, embezzlement, impersonating an international figure, and from the pews you see Herman shoot to his feet and he says, "Objection, Your Honor!" And the warden goes, "What?" And you see Herman bustle up, and he says, representing Same Sky's interest, Director Faye Ilverick has made it clear that on the grounds of it was funny, she is not seeking charges. So it is in the interest of me and my client that the charges of impersonation are laid to rest. And the warden goes, "Sure, just pass the file over to my secretary and I'll take a look at it later." Conspiracy to kidnap, abetting in a kidnapping, assault, jaywalking. How do you plead? And Archibald, sitting next to you, mouths words at you, then says, "Not guilty on all charges."
Not guilty on all charges.
Very well, Sir Fandelkis, you may sit down.
She does so, as gracefully as she stood.
Legato. Young man, what is your last name?
Legato stands up. He clears his throat. He's like, "My last name, as a matter of public record, I recognize I do not technically have a legal last name. However, by adoption, I am considered Mulfric Kennis."
Okay. You see the warden look around at some of the arbiters and like kind of make a face. Okay. Ugh. All right. Legato Mulferic Kennis. What does she sketch?
She sketches comparatively the tallest person in the group. A generally lithe, if fluffy looking, deep charcoal colored tiefling with a set of two horns. Also, yellow eyes. A rather large scar going down the center, like slightly off right, down the center of his face and kind of looking like Lichtenberg scars. Um, he's got pointed ears. Would he have been allowed to keep all of his piercings?
Unless they were dermals,
Mm-hmm.
no. So he could
Okay.
keep dermals, but he would have like plastic plugs for everything
Okay.
else.
So, then he has the one that's going through his nose bridge still in, and plastic everything else. And he has a dual pronged tail. And unlike the others, um, his hair did not manage to stay. No matter how much gel they use at one of these things, it always ends up looking like he stuck his finger in a socket. And he is wearing a slightly thicker, like he was wearing a originally slightly thicker version of the prison jumpsuit. And here he is wearing similarly, but it's like clean, pressed. He's not wearing exactly like a thick coat like the others are. And he's got despite being in this room where he can say his name, he's got a distinct collar around his neck. He's required to wear it at all times.
Begatomoferic Kennis, you stand trial for the murder of the speaker Ursine of Mihuashitlan. Now, the legal representatives, Dr. Elenos, is willing to accept a plea of, yes, you did it, but it was self-defense. How do you plead in the murder?
I did. And it was self-defense.
Hey, sentencing will happen. It'll happen tomorrow. Okay, glad that is good with. That makes the next stuff easy. So how do you stand on regicide, conspiracy, embezzlement, conspiracy to kidnap, abetting in a kidnapping, assault, etc.? How do you stand on those charges?
Not guilty on all counts.
You see Archibald nodding. Okay, great. Mulferic Kennis, you may take a seat.
He sits. It's a very soft sounding sit down.
Riptide Fandelkus Landier, please rise.
Riptide will stand up, just in a natural sense. No real care for posture.
What does she sketch?
She sketches a water genasi about the same same height as Surf. Curly hair as well, but it's short, and he does have his sides shaved, so it's just mostly the top. A very aged scar on his right cheek, basically from the middle down to his jaw. And he has golden blue eyes. It kind of swirls a little bit, but it's predominantly golden. But you can see the blue in there. And he's just wearing jumpsuit. If they didn't give him one for this specifically, it would just probably have some little bit of sweat stains and maybe a drop of blood somewhere.
Interesting. And what's his expression? Does he seem worried?
He's indifferent. It's mostly just he's over he's literally overdoing this for 3 months and just would rather get this done with.
Riptide Vandalcus Landir, how do you plead to the individual charges of skipping out on your tab?
What tab?
You presented a tab on Kithorn 11th to the tune of around 5 gold, and your check bounced.
Shit. Guilty, I guess.
Wonderful. The court is going to find you 500 gold. And Archibald stands up and he goes, Your Honor, my client can't pay 500 gold. And the warden goes, A Vandelcus Landir? Yeah, I sure fucking think he can. And Archibald goes, Your Honor, it is all over the news. It is common sense that Riptide Vandelcus Landir's parents, who are the custodians and the immediate holders of his Golden Vault account, are refugees of the law and are unable to help administer the transfer of goods. So I am either asking for a meeting with a Golden Vault representative or a hardship pass. And the warden goes, Okay, we'll settle that at a future date. And Archibald goes, No, I would like that settled today. And the warden goes, No, Archibald, sit down. And Archibald goes, Sorry, and sits down.
Did Surf or Riptide know that both of their parents are on the run right now?
I think that's a question that you guys answer. Whatever's the most interesting for you.
Well,
I think there's...
I was gonna say,
I think
this
Herman
is the first
implied
time.
something at the end of their session.
My thought was if they haven't been told anything because they keep getting pushed back, I don't think any news has gotten to them.
At least not.
You guys have access to newspapers, to radios, some TV time, but whether or not you've been like hearing out for that, again, whatever's most interesting for you guys, that is your decision to make.
I think Surf would sort of like, upon hearing that like both their parents are on the run, Surf sits up in her chair and glances toward and looks towards Riptide with a
Rip
knit in her.
will look back and go basically mouth, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, we both probably assumed that Tsunami. Yeah, sure, obviously, but
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah, that's where it is Mom's gone too, and we're like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Riptide, stop making goo goo eyes. How do you stand on regicide, conspiracy,
That's my
embezzlement,
It's my sister.
conspiracy to kidnap, abetting in a kidnapping, assault, and more?
Not guilty on all charges.
Very good, young man. You may now take a seat.
Yeah, and he'll turn and go back to sit.
Last on the docket, and Sparrow, please. Stand up.
Am I able to stand?
It is up to you. I think you're typically not given typically given a wheelchair, but in this case, because you're on like a court appearance, I think that you've been extended the dignity of having like
Sure.
peg-like prosthetics.
Great. Well, then she will utilize whatever crutches that she has been provided with and will stand.
Wonderful. Anne Sparrow, on the individual charges of conspiracy to kidnap, arson, reckless endangerment of a minor, reckless endangerment of an adult, and an attempt on the life of a regicide. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Okay, sure. What does she sketch?
So standing there is Anne, who has short, sort of shoulder length blonde hair, thick glasses that amplify her eyes, which are sort of cloudy and just generally, it is very clear that she has issues with her vision. Um, and she's wearing the provided sharp court attire, um, all the way down to just below her knee, where those prosthetics that we mentioned started, and she's standing there with two crutches because the prosthetics are for both legs at this current juncture.
How's her expression?
Cocky.
Druid and Sparrow. How do you plead to regicide, conspiracy to commit regicide, embezzlement, assault, abetting in a kidnapping, conspiracy to kidnap, and also 6 counts of resisting a direct guard's orders, and also inciting violence and uncooperative behavior among your immediate prison mates.
Uh, Not guilty. If you had evidence for that, this trial would have happened already.
You see, no, you don't see. You hear Archibald let out like a short, like, um, very well. You may sit, Anne.
She will do so.
All right. In the light of prisoner 242's imminent execution, the trial will commence tomorrow. We have pretty outstanding evidence. I can't imagine the trial is going to take long. You guys have heard that a lot. Before we adjourn, is there anything else that needs to be said? And from the side, an arbiter raises their hand and says, yes, Your Honor. We have a writ here from King Corollas Elegandar asking for the trial to be postponed as Neverwinter launches its own investigation into the regicide of Marjanari, the kidnapping of Koshkal Vecna, and the murder of Arbiter Rosencast. And the warden goes, okay, you're going to have to tape it up with Archibald. There is Cholton fried eggs in the breakfast, and I haven't eaten yet. So the warden stands up and says, well, that's going to be all for me today. Guards, please escort the guests to their chambers. Lawyers, please make sure that your Defendants are returned to their prison jumpsuits, and we will see you guys tomorrow. You might see me picking out at the buffet. Who's to say? People rise up from their seats. You see the court reporter, the woman who's been sketching, continue to furiously sketch. She's now pulled out colored pencils and is working away. Archibald stands. He escorts you out of the room to a sort of like a big dressing room, like a showgirl type thing. Not a lot of privacy, big mirrors, but you can see that, you know, jumpsuits have been set out for you. And Archibald will bring you into the room, close the door, and then turn and face the door to give as much privacy as he can afford you.
Legato has no shame. He takes like 2 minutes to change back into his jumpsuit.
Neither does Riptide. He just gets undressed and gets back in.
Surf will sort of find a corner to get changed in. And then we'll come over with like a piece of paper to Riptide and say, actually, I drew something from the court for the court documents too. See? And if you check general chat.
Oh, that's cute.
Really? This is where we were in court, and this is what we're gonna do.
How many times have we been in there already?
Way too many, but seriously, my face does not look like an ass.
True. But that's why there's a fart there, because it looks like a farting ass.
Ridiculous.
I think
And
she's
the-
saying you talk a lot of shit, Rip. Rip a lot of shit. Anyways.
and definitely sits down in and will like take off the take off the two prosthetics that she was afforded, knowing that now that this is over, she's likely not going to be allowed to keep them. Leg one, toss it. Leg two, toss it. And then it's like, legs, throw me
Sounds-
that jumpsuit.
Yeet. He does the little Kobe motion as he tosses it to her.
Thank you. And she will change.
Archibald talks to the door where you can hear him, and he says, so I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've reviewed some of the cases. Surprising lack of eyewitness accounts. But that kind of doesn't mean anything when legend, lore, and speak with dead and other stuff is here. Pretty damning evidence. I think that I can talk down at least jaywalking out. I think I can get maybe conspiracy to kidnap. As like I think I can get the kidnapping charges removed. At least for everyone except Anne.
Man, did you really kidnap a kid?
No, I tried to stop a kid from getting kidnapped.
Well, you try to stop a kid from getting killed.
Whatever.
And kidnapped. So the thing is, the arbiters, the king of Neverwinter is saying that he is willing to They're willing to accept like a lowered sentence if you guys talk and cooperate with the investigation. But I think it looks like you the same skies guy that hermit fella is probably going to challenge that.
I
Because
wonder
I think
why.
what?
I had said, "Oh, I wonder why," as if he wasn't the one that pegged this on us,
Seems like a bit of a conflict of interest, if I'm honest.
right?
Also, the only murder I was present at is the one that I did. I don't get why I'm being framed for the rest of it.
Well, you were there the night before um
Oh, that's right.
when one of the victims um sister-in-laws, I believe, well, we now know, incorrectly identified Anne as an arbiter. Um,
Oh,
uh,
that whole. Oh, yep. Okay. Yep.
so they think that they just kind of, I'm going to be honest, I really think with you, Legato, they're just throwing charges at you to see what sticks, to get you scared into talking. Which I'm going to be honest, I just think you should. I think you should just sing like a canary because you are already dealing with third degree murder, uh, which won't get you hanged, which is great.
Oh,
What I'm trying to
relief.
do is get you guys away from getting executed. Uh, so
So I'm sorry. The night before, is it illegal to go to a place of business now? Is that what we're is that where we're at?
I don't
I
think it's illegal. I think it's unfortunate that you were there, and also you were definitely, I believe, scoping out the areas. What
Oh,
they
with my
called
2 eyes. With my 2 eyes, I was scoping it
you.
out.
You can hear.
Not in there. They were dancing. Music.
it's a huge club, to be fair.
Let's see. Yeah,
To be
they can.
fair, Anne, you just did admit that you know something about the place. They were dancing there. That clearly means that you know everything that happened there.
Oh, that's good. That's a good rebuttal. I'm thinking like a lawyer. That was good. But let's
Well,
see.
if you hear
Also, is it my
music,
fault if I'm there providing a little entertainment? Goodness.
I was going to say, if there's music, wouldn't you expect dancing, even if you can't see it?
Who knows? Who is prisoner of 242, anyways?
Uh oh.
He's kind of handsome, I think. He's the handsome one, I'm pretty sure.
That tells me
Uh
nothing.
Psst.
uh that
Well, you're
is
not into him or ones like him, so it doesn't matter, does it?
What's he look like?
Older, like Chulton, tall. Um, Pretty sure that's the one.
Tall, troll. That's so many people, though.
Okay, it's not
Well,
just me.
not really. He looks. He is like he's calm, very patient, very engaging, but does give the air of someone who got up to something.
Oh, Ross and
Um,
Sweet.
his title was stripped from him. Actually, it's Nashilatl.
Nashilatl. Oh.
Oh, him.
Oh,
but
yeah, I heard about
but
that.
commonly known as Rosmasi. Yes, he is getting executed for
All the things.
so many things from what I know.
uh
Before I came here, I tried to keep up with all that sort of news, and he did a lot of things.
Did
I
he
mean, I
go
wouldn't
to a
really call
club
it
with
news. It
dancing
was more like
too?
what was in
What?
like the. I wouldn't call it news. It was in the history books.
I
Well, that
think he
too.
went to a club with dancing. I can agree with you, Anne.
See, here's what they're going to say is they're going to say, and if you can't enjoy the proclivities of the club and you weren't partaking in drinks or food, what were you doing at the club?
She was probably partaking in drinks.
I really can't believe that I'm going to have to step into a court of law and explain someone with. And she'll wave her hand in front of her face. And the way that. Maybe the arbiters and the other people in the court wouldn't really get it, but there are certain places you can go to where people can dance together and they're allowed to dance on you and physically touch you. So
Your
that
Honor.
You were getting a
To quote one of
Your
the great
Honor, I
bards,
was there to get lap dances.
yeah,
I
to
was
quote
trying
one
to
of the
get
great
grinded on.
bards, one of the great bards of Baldur's Gate, there ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind.
Your Honor, I was getting a accessible experience.
And I will also point out that this specifically is the joke because Fish specifically said that there were people grinding during the 0.5s.
He did.
Yeah, there were.
There were. Thank
It
you.
was baby shower. How else are you gonna make babies?
Ring ring. You all are dressed. Archibald will say, I am going to meet up with the other lawyers and schmooze
Mm-hmm.
and see what we can work out. But the great news is it's Noshilatul's last day of being alive, so food. I hear that there's like tej, which is a honey drink, I think.
It was very good.
So everyone's out in the main hall, so you should be able to like mingle. But you know, the usual rules stand. You guys have your anti-magic collars on. Please try and adjust to each other by numbers. They might be a little more relaxed today, but they probably might not be, but they might. Yeah, and you know, I'll be getting you guys up bright and early tomorrow for the trial.
That's being postponed again?
No, I think I mean I'm
Well,
gonna be
that's why one of
honest.
them were gonna go talk to Archie
Yeah.
to see
'Cause
if we could still manage to make it work.
I'm gonna be honest, we're not the Lord's Alliance anymore. This isn't Neverwinter, and frankly speaking, I don't think the king is cognizant enough to know what he signed. So, if it was me, I would get this thrown out. I think I would just challenge the king's cognizance. I'm hoping that I don't have to do that because I really don't want to have to go to the court of law against Neverwinter on my first ever case.
Oh, that explains
So,
everything.
Yeah, Archie. Well, I think you could do it. You're spread thin enough as it is.
yep, like
Yeah.
peanut butter or cold butter on dry toast. Um,
Bless him.
but yeah, you guys, I'll escort you guys out to the main hall, where you'll be able to get food and, you know, commingle and, wait until tomorrow. So,
Joy.
Bye, Archie.
Bye, Archie.
I'm still walking you guys.
Oh,
Yeah, but
we
you're
can
not
say
looking at
bye.
us. So,
Oh, that's right. He opens the door. He escorts the four of you, through the halls. You go up a floor, taking an elevator, and you find yourself on the level 1 foyer. So this is where Anne and Legato have been for the past few months, is on level 1. This is the section reserved for the most dangerous of them all. And it is busy. There's music coming, discordant, disjointed, and tinny from a overworked radio that is like situated in the middlemost table in like a bowl to amplify the sound. You can see guards freely sitting with prisoners, trading drinks, flasks back and forth. And there is like such a flagrant and obvious display of all of the smuggling that has been going on in Revel's End that like the guards have been cracking down on, that the warden has been cracking down on. Who's to say where all of the cigars and cigarettes came from? They're not going to ask.
Think I could get that lipstick I asked for?
Warm food is being served out. Legato, this stands out to you as the person who has lived in 10 towns the longest. The food that you guys have been getting is pretty obviously canned. It has that kind of aluminum lead taste, but it's still the freshest and nicest food that you've been getting in 10 towns since maybe 5 years. We're talking canned fruits, canned meats, but the food being set out on tables is definitely fresh. I mean, like warm breakfast foods, pancakes made with like fresh flour. There is a lot going on here. And you can see familiar and unfamiliar prisoners seating around. Almost all of them are eating. That's kind of one of the only things you can do here is just eat. And seated at like an informal head of table is prisoner 242, Nashilatl, who is in rich purple garb with a sort of like toga stole thrown over his shoulder, made out of like a chimera of jaguar print dinosaur hide. This is like very nice regalia he's set up in, and he's surrounded by a like half circle of clerics and students and anybody who is able to find paper just jotting down everything he says. It's loud. There's music. There's alcohol. Most importantly, there's endless pancakes and fresh fruit and maple syrup.
Oh, hot damn.
Damn, like real shit.
Real shit.
Oh shit. I feel like that's the least difficult thing to get in 10 towns.
Notable people that you can talk to and are prisoner 304, Yopal, prisoner 239, who the Vandelkis, I believe, Surf was previously the roommate of. She was moved due to unidentified, unclarified reasons, but you can see her loitering about. Prisoner 299, basically any prisoner you can think of is seated here. And that is going to bring me to a question I've been waiting to ask. Someone roll me a d4.
Who's got it?
I do. I'll do it.
Alrighty.
Oh, jeez. Before. 1.
Nice.
Stupendous.
1.
Legato.
1. Yes.
Legato, go ahead and roll me either perception or insight, your choice. The first skill check of the game.
Don't fuck it up.
Legato, this is 50-50 shot. Okay. Rolling. 17.
Ooh, nice.
All right. I love that. Legato, as your what was it, perception or insight?
Perception.
Awesome. Also, until further, all rolls in Foundry if we are able.
Okay.
No problem though. Just kind of idly idly scanning the room, you can see one prisoner on the same floor as Riptide,